Alright guys, quick how-to on a Kia Optima transmission fluid temperature sensor. This is a 2012 model. I was not able to find any how-tos on this, so this is just kind of a cursory how I got there. Currently disassembled, but so basically what you're going to want to do is remove your air box, your battery, and all of that so you can get to the top here. It just gives you more room to work. As you can see, the air box is out, the battery, the air ram, and then the lower guards for the bottom of the car. So then basically what I did was down here you can see the transmission valve body cover, and then up in here is the transmission valve body, and that little plug right there that's unplugged, I'll point to it here. This plugs right into there, and that's your transmission oil temp sensor. You can see there's two little prongs on there. So basically to disassemble that, you just push in the prongs, pull it out, I can put it back in, just the same way. Pretty straightforward. There's probably 20 10mm head bolts in there. One thing you want to make sure you do is have a catch pan underneath. You're going to get about 1.5 quarts of transmission fluid out of there. My plan is to just pour that in through the vent. So Kia doesn't, in the manual, it does not recommend changing the fluid. I'm not sure how much is in there. You can see the car is elevated in the front, so there's probably some residual in the back. So I'm just going to pour the fluid back up in through the vent. Should work. There's your vent line right there. I'll point to it right there, and that pretty much just ties into that little dude right there. So I'll just pour the fluid in slowly through the vent, and it should run out right there. Pretty straightforward. Comment if you have any other questions. So here's the new transmission oil temp sensor. I bought this from the Kia dealer, O'Reilly's, and AutoZone did not have this. It was about, I think, $40, but basically it's just held in with a little 10mm head bolt, and then there's your plug right there. So we're going to remove the old one and install the new one. Alright, so you just take your 10mm deep well, is what I'm using, just a 1/4" ratchet, onto the old trans temp sensor and loosen it. You got to be careful of the cable that's connected to this. It's pretty fragile. I've heard of other people on forums that have broken them, so just be mindful of that. Okay, now we're going to take out our old temperature sensor. All right, a little bit of fluid might come out. I'll install the new one. Alright, just get a little bit of oil in there to lubricate that O-ring while you're installing it. And then go ahead and install the new sensor. Along with the bolt. torque on this should be around 18 to 20 pounds, just based on the size of the bolt. Me personally, I'm not going to torque it. I'm just going to tighten it about as tight as I felt that it was. All right, now you just install the plug. I'll have to push the tabs up. All right, plug's installed. Alright, I am not replacing this gasket because it's an O-ring type. I just did a pretty thorough. Alright guys, as you can see, I have the valve body cover back on, and I have the, where my finger is right there, if you can see, the fill plug, I'm calling it, out of the cover. I just used a 3/8 wrench, or 3/8 ratchet, sorry. And that's what the fill plug looks like. And just turn it counterclockwise, it's about a half turn, it'll come right out. But to fill this is kind of tricky, so I've taken an old Lucas oil canister and fitted a hose on top. And what I'm going to do is turn this upside down on top of the car up there and fill like that. So I'll try and get an angle if I can on how this is going to work. Let's see. Okay. A little bit over a quart of fluid that came out. So I'll take my hose and install it into the transmission, because that you don't have very much room in there. And I'll turn this upside down and you can see the fluid going through. This takes a little bit of time, but it's the most effective way that I've found to fill. Try to get an angle. So basically this is what we're doing. Just filling like that.